All right, we are back on KYN Extra. I am still with my guest, managing editor of Fightful.com, Mr. Ross Sapp. Sean, are you ready for a few more, buddy?
Yeah.
This first one reported by France Live. Let me ask you this question. Has there ever been a time in your life where you did something at a place of work that was so wrong that you got fired for it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think I've got fired from maybe one place ever, and that wasn't my doing. It wasn't something I did wrong. So I don't think so.
So why'd you get fired?
It was what culture? They wanted to start a U.S. expansion, and they didn't like that they didn't have immediate results, like a couple days into it. And they fired me, and they later fired another guy who was my U.S. editor there. So.
Well, back in 2018, there was a mother of three named Sonia, and she found herself unemployed and she needed a job. And she came across a posting that she liked. So she applied for the job. She ended up getting hired, and the job was as an occupational physician. She had the job for 3 years. Eventually, she got fired, and now she's facing charges. What happened?
An occupational what?
She was an occupational physician, doctor.
She masturbated 4 times during a single session.
And maybe she did, but in this situation, she never went to medical school.
Yeah.
She didn't have a medical license.
Uh-huh.
And her background was actually in real estate.
Well, listen, as an amateur doctor myself, I kind of sympathize with her. I mean, listen, I have diagnosed many people without a medical degree. So
diagnosed them for, give me examples. Diagnosed them for what?
You got a case of the fatheads.
I do.
You do.
It's because I shaved my head? Is that the reason?
No. Denise has a big ass head. So, I mean, like, I can diagnose that. I'm not a doctor. I don't need to be a doctor. I hang around with you guys. That way my head looks small in comparison. You ever heard of the Duff, the designated ugly fat friend? I have those, just not for ugly fat people. Just big heads.
So Sonia, she obtained fake medical degrees from a university in France. She fabricated a fake certificate from the board of the Order of Physicians. And just imagine how she pulled this off. So for 3.5 years, Sean, she held a job where the functions typically include diagnosing and treating occupational diseases, treating work-related illnesses and injuries of employees, conducting physical exams, and prescribing medication. She was even part of a COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Did all this for 3.5 years with no medical training whatsoever. Her city's Center for Occupational Medicine and Health kind of figured things out. You know, they came to realize something was up. And so they filed a complaint. Then it was discovered that she had produced all these fake documents. She was fired, and the police opened up an investigation. But it gets better, Sean Ross Sapp.
Does it?
It gets better. There's an added wrinkle to the story. Do you have any idea what that might be?
No, I'm surprised she just didn't own the fact that she just wasn't going to have documentation.
So after she got fired and she was brought up on charges, and she even had to wear an electronic ankle bracelet ordered by the court after the first arrest. After all of that, she did it again. She applied for and she got hired to work as an ophthalmologist.
That's a completely different side of things, too. An ophthalmologist?
That's what she did. Yep. So when appearing,
how long did that last? Sorry.
That they didn't say how long that lasted. Obviously, it didn't last 3 years because I think she was arrested in 21, so it didn't last 3 years. But when appearing before the judge in criminal court, she explained that she had been cornered by the need for money, and she said, you know what? I was welcomed with open arms by my employers. That's what she said. And the judge responded and said, yeah, that's nice. And she's been convicted to 3 years in prison.
You think? Oh, my God.
Have you ever seen Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah, I love it. It's a great movie.
I'm wondering if she was inspired by that. I wonder if she thought to herself, I need a job. And like Leo did it. So
now she's going to get hired to like help identify people that do exactly what she does. And it'll all work out for her, just like him.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. This next one, this is reported by Axios Washington. And when I saw this story, I thought of Sean Ross Sapp.
Oh, boy.
And you're going to appreciate this because you just bought a house. So you're going to appreciate this one. So the real estate market has been pretty hot around the Washington, D.C. area. There's been low inventory and there's heavy competition. There's a listing that went viral for a house in Fairfax, Virginia, because of how specific and, dare I say, how strict the listing was. Now, when you were looking for your house, is there anything that you can think of that would have been a deal breaker for you?
Oh, I mean, tons of things. Like, just if it wasn't ready for anything, like if I couldn't move in and just live here as is for like 5-6 years, I wouldn't have done it. I was so ready to just move on.
Gotcha. Well, in this particular case, so this is a five-bedroom house, 3.5 baths. It was listed for $800,000. It was being sold in as-is condition, meaning that if repairs have to be done, if anything has to be done, tough shit. It's an as-is condition. The homeowner was an elderly man, and he's in the hospital and apparently isn't doing too well. The agents.
It's Ozark. I'm going to tell you what it is now. It's Ozark. Have you seen that show?
I have not seen it yet. I plan to.
They had to buy the house with the old man in it.
Really?
Yes.
Well, in this case, the agent's name is Zinta Rogers Rickert. She's with Remax Gateways Red Truck Realty Group. She said that there are multiple issues with the house. There's broken toilets and there's window rot and there's a deck that's not up to code and there's a broken dishwasher. Mm-hmm. But they made something very clear in the listing, Sean. Something was made very clear in the listing in capital letters, as a matter of fact. And what the listing said was no access to see the lower level. You do not have access to see the lower level if you want to buy this house. Why is it that you had no access to the lower level?
Somebody's living there.
Yeah. So basically at one point, people went there to clean the home. And I'm guessing it was probably vacant because the elderly gentleman's in the hospital. People went there to clean the home. They decided to move in.
Oh, wow.
So the agent said that there are people living in the lower level of the home. There is no lease. They're not paying rent. They're essentially squatters.
It takes forever to get people out of there. There's a whole Netflix show about it now.
Yes. And here, get this. Here's a quote from the agent, Sean. The agent said that she was still expecting multiple offers. She said, inventory is so low, people are willing to do just about anything at this point. Sean, the house sold in 4 days.
Oh my God. Buddy, I don't doubt it. When our first realtor hit us up, he was like, oh, well, I'm about an hour away, so let me know about 5 or 6 days ahead of when you want to go look at houses. And I was like, homeboy, they will be sold and then resold in that amount of time. I was like, you're off your rocker. So in Fairfax, which is that city's booming right now. I wish I could say I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. And not only that, I'm sure there are people that believe they can get those people out as well. I'm sure that they're looking at that and they're probably going to try to turn that house. No, how much did it sell for?
$800,000.
They think they can sell it for 1.4, 1.5 if they
demo
turn some things around, renovate it. And in this market, it'll sell at whatever that was. And the squatters will be a distant memory.
Yeah, I suspect that if they were going to demo it, then what's the term that you use when something's not livable? I forget the term, but they could basically I'm not a real estate lawyer. That might be it. Yeah. That might be it. But maybe that's what they can do. I don't know. But I saw that story and I thought, how fascinating is that? The listing actually said you can't see the lower level of the house.
Yeah,
you can't see it.
So I mean, they own the lower level as well, right? I mean, they own that now.
I don't know the law if they own it. I
mean, there are squatters' rights for sure. There are tons of squatters' rights. I'm not that familiar with them, but I mean, I did watch that Netflix show recently that talked about that guy that would just tough. I live here now. And
yes, I saw that too. Yeah, I saw that one.
It takes a while to do it, but I mean, if these people are not necessarily in a rush to make their $300,000 or $400,000, they can start that process pretty well immediately, and by the time they're done with that house, the market ain't cooling down anytime soon. So I think that probably whoever bought that probably has an idea of what's going on. And it's not going to be like Jason Bateman and Laura Linney and Ozark living with the old man downstairs or anything like that.
Well, this last one was reported by IndiaTimes.com. Now, I know that you're not impartial to marijuana, Sean Ross Sapp. I know you're not. Do you have any stories about when something went wrong? Maybe, maybe something that you dabbled in or something. Any stories about when something went wrong with with the usage?
So full disclosure, I've only smoked marijuana to like aid in a severe neck injury that I had, but it was the first time I had smoked in years. And I quite frankly, I had a wrestling match the next week, Jimmy. I was trying to get in shape for it, was trying to make sure that I was looking good and all that.
I can't believe that people before any kind of a physical activity or a combat event would smoke marijuana, Sean.
This was a week before, Jimmy. This was a week before. I would never do that right before a show.
Right.
And I was down like 10 pounds from my normal weight. I was looking good. My grandmother had, for some reason, been at the grocery store. And when I went and visited her, she's like, "Hey, I bought you this box of 32 ice cream sandwiches." I ate 8 of them back to back.
I thought you were going to say eat all 32.
No, I was sitting there. I was like, "God damn it, Grandma!" Like I was enjoying this wonderful tasting ice cream sandwich, or 8 of them, before this match, and I was like, "Damn it, why?" That's about as severe as it got for me. Otherwise, no issues.
Well, in this story, there's a man in Indonesia, and he went to the police station to file a complaint.
Oh.
He said that he had recently purchased marijuana from a drug dealer, and he wasn't happy with what he received.
Uh-huh.
Any idea what he received, Sean? Like, what made him so unhappy?
Oregano.
You're not terribly far off. So the man pulled out a piece of paper, and he had the drugs wrapped up in it. He unwrapped it, and he showed the police. It wasn't marijuana. It was celery leaves.
Yep. You know what? That used to be a big racket in my hometown. I'm serious. Like,
With celery leaves?
Not celery leaves, just fern leaves, I think.
Okay.
Somebody would like sort of crush them up and just sell them to some kid that didn't know any better. They thought they were getting their first bag of weed.
Yeah.
And they would drop $10 and they would think they were getting a deal. And that was that.
I bet you that they also convinced themselves that they were high.
Probably.
Yeah, I bet you they did.
Probably.
Well, there's a video that went viral on Instagram, and in the video, you can actually hear the police officers laughing at him.
Of
You can
course.
actually hear it. And here's a funny little side story to this. The police thought about arresting him for drug possession, but they let him they let him go because he didn't actually have any drugs in his possession. It was celery leaves, but they thought about it. That reminds me of the 40-year-old virgin when he had a problem getting rid of an erection, and he called the Viagra hotline. And the guy on the other line, he goes, "Thank you for your business." And he laughs. He goes, "Oh, we didn't get your business, did we?"
Yeah, that's a classic. You'll notice Steve Carell has never done another movie like that since then.
And it's still one of my favorites. I've seen it so many times, and I never get tired of it. Never get tired of it. All right. Well, that is KYN Extra. Thank you very much again to our guest, Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com. This was a lot of fun. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, we will.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good one.